producers, I want to welcome you guys to Listener Feedback, episode number 40. And in this episode will be starring the OG, Mr. Cody Clark. This is your episode, brother. This is all about you. Because to be quite honest with you, brother, I have several emails that I have to read of yours, and we are going to get right into it, my brother. Now, with that being said, though, before we officially get started into the episode, if you guys do want to be a part of the next listener feedback, you can do that two different ways. You can either call in. No, you can't call in right now. We ain't got no phone number anymore at the moment, but you can email the show, and the email address is simply the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com if you want to be a part of the next episode. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get into Mr. Cody Clark's emails. And the first email Cody has sent in, it has no subject, but the email does read as follows. It says, I remember back at BioWare Mythic between 2008 and 2012, where the EA was talking internally and trying to figure out how to best support some studios and save costs. When Warhammer Online came out and the hype was huge, EA pushed to have more servers physically purchased to have more players be able to access the game and spent a ton to hype it. TLDR. Too many servers at start made it difficult to balance populations and was one of many reasons that stuff fell apart so fast. In the next 6 months, EA was like, screw this, and started reclaiming the servers to hand over to other studios. Darn, is that right? God dog. Okay. Now, while talking to a few of the senior developers and producers who would come to chat with us plebes in the customer support bay, he puts in parentheses, remember when you could talk to people for support and not fill out a form and wait 1 or 2 weeks for a non-reply? Yeah, I remember that, Cody. Absolutely. Nowadays, everything is doggone automated. But let me continue with your email, brother. He says, we were talking about upcoming projects we had, seeing the Hero engine being used by BioWare for Star Wars, and it was such a horrible and bad idea. No, such a horrible idea and a bad choice. He says, I'll tell you that story someday, Kay. We look forward to hearing about that. But let me continue with your email. He says, but anyways, it came to light that in the future, EA wanted to only use internal resources and stuff. So DICE's Frostbite engine came up, and a few producers were like, cool, can we get permission to use that engine on a game? And the rep we were visiting with was like, yeah, for $1 million. For $1 million? What? Hold on. And he was like, and we were like, hold on, what? That's what I'm saying, Cody. He says, and they were like, yep, it just made my brain hurt, making my brain hurt. How are you going to charge somebody for an engine that's already in-house? He says, how are you going to charge that much for something used by your own group? See, I'm jumping ahead of your email. Cody, my bad. I'm just up here, just giving my honest thoughts in real time, my brother. He says, let me read that again. It just made my brain hurt. How are you going to charge that much for something used by your own group? What did it cost for non-EA company members? This engine was making money, but this was like before 2013. So it had not gotten to FIFA or Madden yet. There were only a handful of games. Maybe it was because BioWare Mythic was on the back foot after the Star Wars MMORPG and the Mythic Warhammer failures. I'd be curious to know if EA Vancouver and EA Tiburon had to shell out had to shell out, or if the higher ups were just like, use this or else. Just a random story that I thought about that always made me chew my lower lip and wonder. Cody, this is extremely interesting information. I mean, by the way, Cody Clark, he was there at EA for a number of years, so he was definitely on the inside. But how the world do you justify literally telling another team that's inside of your team, or at least under the same umbrella as you, that if you want to use this Frostbite engine, you got to give us $1 million to do so? This is nuts. But this is business underneath EA in the earlier days, like Cody referenced. This is back with BioWare Mythic between 2008 and 2012. Him talking about the different servers at the time and how they were trying to, ramp up for what was the game again, Cody? I'm gonna find it here in a second. Hold on. Warhammer, for Warhammer Online. Having the hype being real and having all of these servers, then the servers were not being used. They had to move them over. This is a lot going on, Cody. Good grief, man. But the takeaway from me for this is, who the world would have thought that a team that's already in-house would be charged to use a engine that is already up and running, where they could make more money by using the engine on some other games. But now you can't do that. You got to pay us in order to use this technology. That's no different than somebody going to Unreal, saying, well, look, we want to use the Unreal engine, and, they let them use it. Or what's the other engine that Hideo Kojima uses and Guerrilla Games uses? It's slipping my mind. For some reason, when it's time to remember this stuff in real time, it's like I'm scrambling to get it. But if I'm in a relaxed state of mind and not trying to think too hard, it comes so easily, to me, with these different things that I'm trying to remember on the spot. But y'all know exactly what engine I'm talking about. That Kojima used in Death Stranding, that they also used, Guerrilla Games that is, used inside of Horizon Forbidden West and Zero Dawn. But even the Euphoria engine from years ago, I mean, it's no different than them actually having this technology. But hey, if you want to use it, then you got to pay a premium cost to use it because it's our engine. That's just wild that EA would even allow that to be the case, but I digress. But Cody, because I have some other emails to get to, brother, I'm going to go ahead and leave this one where it is. And trust me, Cody, I would absolutely love to hear some other stories about your time when you were there at EA. Please, whenever you're ready, my brother. But let's go ahead and let's get into your next email, Cody. And the title of this email is the Xbox Series S holding games back? Now, your email reads, Cody's email reads as follows. In my opinion, the only thing holding back the Xbox is devs not optimizing for all counts. Developers are not practicing good code and good form. Also, they are mostly using the same engines, which have processes that are missed or overtaxed. Very, very interesting. So you think that it is a dev situation where they're not optimizing it properly. All right, I'm going to continue with your email, Cody. He continues, he says, you can do a lot of work with a small block Chevy engine, and in many cases, it will bolt in easy. Most mega publishers have new and fresh programmers right out of school with Java and maybe C# knowledge. The veterans who know C++, man, let me tell you something. Just on a side note, Cody, I tried to learn C++. Man, that is a hard language. I just couldn't get it. I had a book that was probably around like 2,000 pages or so. It was a black book that I got from Barnes and Nobles, had C++ on the front. I tried studying that thing. God dog, I couldn't get it. Now, who knows if I was in school and tried to do it, maybe so, but trying to learn it on my own, I had zero success. But let me continue with your email here, Cody. Again, I'm going to back it up just a little bit. Cody says the veterans who know C++, and if you're lucky, some assembly, those pros make like $400,000 a year, and there is maybe one person in the department. Heck, they may be the team lead. All that flash and pop, it has a front end cost. You can make it with power, or you can make it even better with style. None of these jokers use style anymore. It's all brute force. Developing for the Series S should be seen as a welcome challenge. It has like 70% of the Series X guts. Artists can blame the tools. That is a weak T argument, and I stand by that. God dog, Cody. So in your opinion, Cody, because you know how I feel, my brother, you know I have been on this podcast for multiple years at this point in time, and I've been blaming the Series S for the shortcomings of games on the Xbox Series X. I've always stood by the thought that Xbox Series S has always held back the Series S. Now, again, I'm not a programmer. I have never worked for a major publisher. You have, Cody. That is something that you have under your belt. And I would never challenge your knowledge on these things. But what I will say, Cody, is I'm just a little iffy, man. I still have to stand on my square that I do believe that the Series S is holding back gaming to a certain degree. But again, you bring up a great point when you're talking about optimizing, the optimization, that they're not really optimizing the Series S games to, I guess, its best optimization. I mean, I guess we could go back to an example of maybe PC. You know, you can have the best high-end PC, a 4080, a 3090 Ti, whatever the case may be. But if the developer isn't giving you that optimization like they really should be to really show off what the game is capable of doing, then it gets to the point where you have to say, well, is it really the hardware's fault, or is it the developer's fault for not actually making the game as optimized as it could be? So from that standpoint, Cody, I would have to say I hear you. But my only thing is that why are games coming out the way they're coming out, though, Cody? That's my only rebuttal. We have games like Starfield that released initially at 30 frames per second. We had Senua Saga releasing at 30 frames per second. These games should be able to run at 60 frames. So I'm just trying to figure out, why are they having such a hard time getting these games to hit their pinnacle right out the gate? And in my opinion, I'm thinking, man, it has to be the Series S, because they're trying to make it the same across the board. Now, of course, we've seen these guys already with Starfield have that game up to 60 frames per second. We've already seen that now. So we can see that the Series X is being used, at least from a frames per second standpoint, to its possible max. Whereas when you look at the Series S, it's at 30 frames. I mean, again, Cody, I got to stand on my square, brother. I think the Series S, I think it was a bad idea from the gate. I think that Xbox should have just had one SKU, or if they wanted to have multiple SKUs, they should have took the PlayStation route, made one physical disc and one digital, if they wanted to go that route to give you the best price possible, to get into next generation. But I don't know, Cody, we've heard these multiple reports too, brother. And I understand you make another good point where it's a lot of guys that are coming out of school that they don't have that C++ knowledge, or what was the other thing you talked about? Assembly. I've never even heard of that language before. Saying that they make like $400,000 a year. So that shows you exactly how rare that skill set is. So I understand, Cody, that it could be a situation where the technology is there, but these newer developers, they're used to maybe a certain set of tools. Like I know you mentioned Java in there somewhere. It was Java, and I think it was C#, I believe you had mentioned. So if these guys are used to those kind of tools, then, you know, if that's all you have and you don't really have a lot of background on anything else from like maybe years ago, then it's a possibility that, you know, the console itself, the games that are released for it, could possibly suffer because you don't have all of the tricks of the trade. I guess it would be like someone that is used to using a software, you know, to make beats like Fruity Loops or what's another one, Cubase or Acid or something like that, where that's what they're used to, you know, making kind of like loop-based beats versus somebody else that actually gets in there and has an MPC and actually tapping it out on the pads and, you know, able to bring in the samples, put the samples on the pad and all of that stuff versus somebody else who only has the skill set of actually using a DAW to actually make the beats versus actually a MPC, banging it out, have a piano hooked up to it. Well, not a piano, but, you know, a keyboard hooked up to it, and you're able to, you know, actually literally make the beat, you know, as you go versus somebody that's just taking loops and samples and putting them inside of a DAW to make it happen. So it's like you're both doing the same thing, but it's just two different levels to it. You know, somebody else who can bang it out on an MPC and could possibly use a DAW as well, they have a bit of an advantage to be able to do a lot more, you know, with the tools versus somebody else whose only concentration is actually using DAW software. So I get it, Cody, but on this one, brother, we can kind of agree to disagree, you know, because again, like I was mentioning, having multiple developers come out and talk about their struggles with the Series S and how it's just holding back what they're trying to do. I can only say, Cody, listen, brother, I gotta go with them, man. I got to, my brother. And that is definitely not a knock to your knowledge and your understanding, brother. That's why I say we can both agree to disagree, but you know, you're my guy, Cody. And sometimes we just aren't going to see eye to eye. But again, for me, yeah, I think the Series S, hey, brother, I don't think that joker was it, man, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. Again, Cody, we have not seen one game yet hit that 4K mark on the Series S. We know that the Series S is weaker. So let me just take that crazy argument off the table. That's just not going to happen. 1440p, of course. That's what it was advertised to do. And in certain cases, I don't even know. I'm be honest with you, Cody. It's been certain cases it has hit the 1440p mark, but you know, it is what it is. But Cody, listen, man, I got to move on because you got several other emails here for me, brother. And I'm about to get to your next email right now. So the next email from Mr. Cody Clark, the OG, is the title of this email is Pirate Software from InfoSec and Blizzard Entertainment to streaming game devs. So this email reads, I know how I have extolled you on this guy before. He has an interesting story, and I think his point of view on what seems to be the case with AAA games, more about the business and less about players, is much more of the deal now than before. Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Hey, Cody, man, the way they nickel and dime the gamer today, man, you remember back in the day, Cody, and our day, and I know I sound like an old man, brother, at 45, you know, back in my day, you know, but back in the day, man, you get Street Fighter, you get these fighting games or whatever the case may be, all of the characters are there. You can unlock them once you beat so many characters. You get this character, that character. It was all unlocked over time. Now they just flat out letting you know, hey, if you want these characters right here, you got to pay $3.99, $4.99, whatever the case may be. But you're going to pay for these extra characters if you want them. And I mean, to a certain degree, listen, I get it. You know, at the end of the day, gaming is a business and they're in it to make money. But gee whiz, sometimes the nickel and diamond, it does get out of control. But let me finish with your email here, though, Cody. It continues. You say, I mean, many games are just copy, paste, or franchise name plus one. Call of Duty 38 or Clash of Clans clones or Final Fantasy third person ARPG walking simulator $200 extreme edition with 3,000 in DLC that is going to fire 400 to 900 employees in the next 9 months, all while using Unreal Engine 5 while being 30% owned by Embracer or Tencent. And if it's a don't game, they will region lock it behind PSN, even if it's a single player only game. Listen, Cody, now that's another interesting fact as well. Just living in this time frame where so many developers are being let go at such drastic numbers on such a regular basis. You know, and then having and of course you didn't mention this, but I'm just saying, just in general, having these conversations about AI actually being able to take over different parts of the game development and things of that nature, making more people lose their jobs at a higher clip is not good for the industry. But also, again, with these practices that are going on as well, just, you know, having these crazy editions, $150, $200. Of course, they come with statues. Some of them come with the DLC, things of that nature. Even with Star Wars Outlaws, you do get early access to the game 3 days early if you get the ultimate or the platinum edition of the game. So I get it. I get it from the standpoint, again, it is a business and they're in this thing to make money. None of them are our friends. We're only cash cows to them, as it were. We're only people that are putting up money. Nothing more, nothing less. It would be nice to feel like, you know, we are appreciated, that they respect us and, you know, that they appreciate our business. But it's so many times when you look and you're like, God darn, I don't even think these jokers appreciate what I do. I mean, when you look over there at Xbox, and again, this is not me picking on Xbox at all, because they've made such amazing strides in the things that they've done the last couple of months. You know, last couple of months has been up and down. Believe me, I ain't going to say that. You know, having games go to PlayStation and all of that stuff. But the thing is that I remember Phil Spencer, he came out, he was saying that these amount of games are going to PlayStation, and, you know, pretty much they were trying to recoup their money. They didn't recoup their money, and it's still word out there that some games, we're going to talk about it on Sunday, but a major game is supposed to be coming to PlayStation that is one of those games from Xbox that it's on Halo's level as far as being attached to the brand. That's supposed to be going over to PlayStation, but we'll discuss that, you know, on Sunday. But the thing that I was trying to say, though, Cody, is it's been guys that have been rocking with the Xbox brand for many, many years, you know, through the hard, turbulent times. You know, they're still supporting them, giving them their money, you know, subscribe to Game Pass when Game Pass wasn't hitting on much. I mean, they had some joints in there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to act like they didn't have anything in there. But what I'm saying is now, at the point that they're at right now, Game Pass wasn't clicking like it's about to start clicking. And now those people that were loyal to Xbox, they are getting the I'm not going to say the short end of the stick. I'll just say that they are now I'm going to have to pay more to get those games. And granted, to be fair, it's still the best deal in gaming. I mean, let's not get it twisted. I mean, getting Call of Duty day and date. I mean, come on, man. $20 a month. That's still a darn good deal on top of the other games that you'll be getting that are first party as well. Still the best deal in gaming. But the point that I'm trying to make is it didn't matter that you were loyal to them, riding for them, saying it's okay. They're going to get it together next generation or next year is going to be the year. All of that long suffering that some of y'all did that, just don't want a PlayStation or just don't see the lore of it, or even a Nintendo Switch for that matter, just sticking strictly with the Xbox brand. It got nobody anything but a raised price. That's what happened. And I mean, that's business, unfortunately. And that can make you feel like you are unappreciated. Like, dag, man, I've been riding on the front line for you. And what do I get out of it? A doggone a price increase of $19.99. So, I mean, that can be a bit of a hard pill to swallow for some. For me, I just know it's business. And again, y'all know I haven't been rocking with Xbox this whole generation because they didn't have anything that appealed to me. That's why I will never understand why some. Now, granted, if PlayStation doesn't have anything for you, that you're truly not interested in their first party titles, then I get it. But for some people who are just dedicated to the Xbox brand just because it's Xbox, that's where you kind of lose me. Because if we're all gamers here, if we're all gaming, and that's the main thing, then I don't know how anybody could be loyal to any brand out here, because they're never going to be loyal to us. So for me, like I said, I always vote with my wallet. If it's something that I'm not feeling, something I don't like, I feel like I'm being mistreated, then I'm not going to give you my money. So that's kind of how that went for me. Man, I had to take a phone call, so my bad. I don't even know where the world I left off at on that email, Cody. But I think I was saying something about, just not feeling like you're not being appreciated, But again, Cody, I'm going to move on to your next email. Hold on, let me expound. No, I guess I said enough on that last email, Cody. Yeah. Anyway, let me move on to your next one, brother. And the title of this email is, we knew it was a money grab. Oh, shoot. That's a nice play on words. He says, I admit I've been off the Nintendo train for a long, long time. Every year, the question is, will it be a Zelda, Mario, Metroid, or maybe a Kirby, Yoshi, or other second or third string franchise? Sure, every 5 to 10 years, we maybe get a Splatoon, Smash Brothers, or Mario X Party X something. The Switch prints money, now in part because they let the Nintendo ecosystem be open to indie games. Sure, there is something heartwarming about getting to play Ori and Shovel Knight on the same system you get Donkey Kong or Toad on. But where is the new hardware? Just a wink, a final bang. The system is on life support, but it's happy fun support. No, it's happy fun life support. What? There is something to be said about how they run. A list of like 10 to 15 franchises that are very well curated and fit together on their system. Unlike PS5 or Xbox, the devs work with the hardware and understand where it is strong and where it is weak. I don't consider them AAA, but I don't even like AAA anymore, so I won't count that against them. Yeah, I've never thought, man, this is the thing. Nintendo, I'm going to stand by this too, Cody. I have never, for the last couple of years, their games are not AAA. They are AA at best. All of their games. And I'm a fan. But if you look at the graphics on some of these games and you look at the graphics on some indie games, they are like on the same level graphically. Now you might say, well, hey, you know, that's Mario or that's Samus or that's Donkey Kong. So what? The games look double A. They're great games, though. Now, don't get me wrong, Cody. I'm not going to sit up here and try to bash on Nintendo about their fun factor of their games and, you know, some of the fantastic level design and things of that nature. Nah, they're really great games. But as far as the quality goes, yeah, they're double A at best. But I'm going to continue on, Cody. And I know you said you're not even into the triple A's right now. But let me pick up where I left off. Okay, it says Zelda looks nice, but like so does any Unreal or well put together Unity project. Exactly. He says, I mean, the Switch has problems running Fortnite, which is like 7 years old now. Facts. He says, I think people love them because they are consistent and a tradition. Consistent and a tradition. They are comfortable and known. They are safe, static, cute, and harmless. Yeah, I agree. Nintendo is absolutely the Disney of everybody in the gaming industry. They are definitely that. They attract that crowd, the younger crowd, the young kids, the early teens. Maybe, I mean, I remember when I turned about 13, 14, I was kind of like looking for something a little different around that time, and Nintendo was just not it. So yeah, Nintendo, they definitely are known for that younger audience for sure. Let me continue. Oh yeah. And like you said, see, this is the thing I don't like about Nintendo though, Cody. Like you said, the tradition, you know, that they're, I mean, they are consistent with their games and, you know, they're like the traditional console, you know, like the triple OG out here. You know, Nintendo has been at it longer than everybody else that is currently in the console landscape of things. But at the same time, I don't like that people give Nintendo so many passes that they would never give Xbox or PlayStation. They would never give them a pass. If they were to make a game that was from their first party and either Xbox or PlayStation made it so the character only talked like, man, people would lose their freaking mind, Cody. They would. Now, you can say, granted, that's not the way that PlayStation has ever advertised their games to be, or Xbox, that's not how their games are supposed to be. But Nintendo, they've already kind of put that in our mind. Forget all of that. Hold these jokers' feet to the fire like you do everybody else. Demand better from Nintendo just like we would demand better from Xbox or PlayStation. You can keep that. Now, granted, I mean, look, listen, I ain't going to sit up here and act like they ain't get me. They got me. I mean, I got a Switch upstairs. They definitely got my money off of multiple titles. But I still do believe that we should hold their feet to the fire and not just say, well, you know, that's Nintendo. That's what Nintendo does. Nah, man. Nah, I'm just not a fan of that. But anyway, let me continue on with your email here. Cody made the point that, man, these jokers are having a hard time running Fortnite. 7 years old. And they having a hard time running that game. But let me continue. He says, I think people... Oh, I read that. Okay, he says, Sony is gatekeeping games, locking Helldivers 2, Ghosts of Tsushima, and God of War behind region locks on PC, with more to come. They have admitted this is their strategy. A walled garden. Can't have a PSN account. Can't play our games. Reminds me of our true fans will get a second job to buy our set. Nah, Cody, I can't agree with that one, brother. Listen, this is the thing, man. Everything comes with the price. Everything, Cody. We know this ain't nothing for free, brother. If you want to play PlayStation games, then you got to get down or you going to lay down. It's just that simple. If you want to be on this side, get a PSN account or leave us alone. That's the thing, Cody. Now that's something that is a bit of a pet peeve for me. If you want to play these games, then look, play them. If that's what it takes to play them, play them. I know that's on PC, and PC jokers feel super entitled. In my opinion, you find it a problem to download another, it's not a server, but you know how you got Steam and then you got Epic Game Store, whatever you call it, whatever storefront. You feel that it's a problem for just downloading a different storefront or something like that to get access to the game. Man, kick rocks with flip-flops with that one, man, for the jokers that feel that way. Not you per se, Cody. I'm not talking to you, but I'm just saying that people that feel that way, man, get out of here, man. Listen, it's no different than a console gamer wanting to play a game that's only available on another console. If you want to play that game, then you got to pick up an Xbox. Well, listen, Xbox, hey, listen, man, they giving you a whole lot more options, which I don't agree with, but it is what it is. But you know, if you want to play that, then you got to pick up a Xbox or a Fire Stick, which I heard that thing again is terrible, so I wouldn't recommend it. But a Samsung TV. But either way, you're gonna spend money on it. No matter what, because you're going to have to pay for the TV. You're going to have to pay for the Fire Stick. If you want to play on PC, you got to pay to build up your PC and get the stats, not the stats, but the specs that is necessary to play the games. If you want to play on Nintendo, you want to play Mario, you got to pick up a Nintendo. So yeah, I don't think this is gatekeeping, Cody. I just think, listen, man, you got to pay money out here. If you want to play these different games, then pay the money. And if it's that big of a problem, if you're on PC and you just don't want to have a PSN account on your PC, then simple, pick up the PlayStation 5 itself. But I can never agree with that, Cody. That just sounds like a mindset where you just feel like you're just better than and I'm not talking to you particularly, Cody, because there are multiple people I've seen on video talking about that this is a tactic and this is bad, this is terrible. Listen, at the end of the day, my brothers and sisters, this is gaming. Okay, it's a hobby. All right, nobody is holding a gun to anybody's head saying you're gonna have to do this. No. Take my approach. If you don't like it, don't support it. So, okay, PlayStation, you don't want us to do, you want us to do this? Well, guess what? We're not going to do it. And don't give them your money. PlayStation will eventually, they'll probably be very stubborn. You know, they won't fold like Xbox, man. Xbox folded like a sheet of paper when it comes to certain things like this. Okay, we don't want to make you guys upset. No problem. Nah, man, I really appreciate the fact that PlayStation is taking their console, at least putting their console at the forefront, instead of just doing what Xbox is doing and just saying, just play everywhere, guys. We love everybody. God, dog, we are the world. We are the children. Just come on in and do what you want to do. No, it's not how it works, man. So I can't get with that one, Cody. Not at all. I know you were saying it reminds you of when Yoshida, was that Yoshida? I forgot, but where he said, if you want the PlayStation 3, you'll go out and get a second job. Yeah, that was doggone wow. That was freaking ridiculous, him saying that. But I don't equate that to that though, Cody. Again, let me read what you said again, just so I can make sure I'm not jumping out the window with my statements. You said Sony is gatekeeping games, locking Helldivers 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and God of War behind region locks on PC, with more to come. They have admitted this is their strategy. A walled garden can't have a PSN account. Can't play our games. Okay. Yeah. Now again, if this is a region lock, I believe it's that region lock because not everywhere has PSN. I think that's what it is. So, if that's the case, you can't, yes, it is Sony's fault in the fact that if they know those regions don't have PSN, then Why would you? Man. All right. I think I kind of see where you, I think I kind of see where you're going with this, Cody. I might have to retract a little bit. Cause sometimes I do get real excited, Cody, and I'm not slowing down and really reading, exactly what's being said. So looking at it from that standpoint, now, if it is the fact that Sony is actually purposely locking these people out because in that region, they don't have PSN available and these guys have paid for the games and they can't play them. Yeah, that's completely a botch job on PlayStation's part, and they shouldn't be doing that. If you're charging people and they can't play the games that they actually picked up, then bare minimum, they should be giving these guys their money back. And that's the thing about PlayStation. Their customer service is a 0 out of 10. Those guys suck. They are the absolute worst when it comes to customer service on their side. So if it is a case where they're not giving these guys their refund, giving them a refund, and I don't want to hear about I'm going to give you a PSN credit and all that bull crap. No, I want my money back. My money. Nothing more, nothing less. And jokers always quick to want to give you a credit and whatnot instead of just giving you your money back. So yeah, if that's the case, Cody, then I'm 100% on your side. That if that's what they're doing. But if it's a situation of you got to have a PSN to actually play the games, a PSN account, then I'm not tripping. I wouldn't trip on that at all. Just make the PSN account and move on with your day, and that's it. That's it. If that's what's required to play their games on your PC is to have a PSN account. If it's available and you can create one, then do it. Just do it to be able to play your games. If not, again, like I said, if you don't want to do that on your PC, then go out and get a PlayStation 5. It wouldn't make financial sense, not to me at all, to spend $500 for something that you already have access to. But if it bothers a person that much, then spend the $400 to $500 and get yourself a PS5. But outside of that, I don't really see a problem with PlayStation putting an emphasis on, their PSN, but it is what it is. Let me finish up your email here though, Cody. He says Xbox has their own batch of dumb. Yeah, they do, brother. Oh man, he says, I'm worried. I don't feel like there is fun in the systems anymore. It's all buy X region, lock Y, don't even show up to Z. I'm not feeling that fizz and pop of looking forward to games anymore. I'm turning into Warren Spector. Get off my lawn. Hey, listen, Cody, man, listen, brother. I hear you, man. Sometimes it was at one point in time, Cody, I actually kind of fell in that category too, where I was like, man, gaming just doesn't, and this was years ago, not of late though, Cody. I've been absolutely loving gaming lately, but I'm talking maybe during like the 360 era, somewhere around there, like going into the Xbox One era and PS4, I was like, man, I'm a little bored with gaming. I don't know, things are a little iffy for me as a gamer, but I realized that, that just wasn't the case. It was a couple of games that came out at that time that I started playing and, kind of found my love for, I never really lost, my love for gaming. It just seemed like it was stagnant at one point in time. But lately I've been feeling extremely great about gaming. So I don't know, Cody, you might kind of be at that point with me, where I was at, at one point in time where you're just not feeling that excitement, around gaming. And it does happen, man. And it also goes to, a gamer's player, to their playing style. Like, are you a RPG player, JRPG player? Do you like fighting games, sports games. I mean, it's never a shortage of sports games for the most part outside of boxing, which that is coming back later on this year. I will be picking that up. But if they have all of these games that are releasing and it's not in the genre that you really enjoy particularly, then yeah, you're going to feel like, man, this is washed. For me, this isn't my thing. Because I'm going to tell you, if single player campaign focused, story driven games ever went out of fashion and they just stopped making them, then that would be the day I can guarantee you I would just more than likely just walk away from modern day gaming. What I would end up doing is probably just buying a lot of titles that I probably skipped on in the past, and just start playing those, instead. But yeah, if that was to ever go away, the single player campaign, yeah, you can count me out. That would be the end of my gaming, my gaming stint, as it were, if they weren't having those kind of games available. But Cody, we're going to move on to your next email here, brother. We got just a few more left from you. Now, this one is titled, Me Back on My Soapbox. He says, so the Digital Foundry video about Ark Survival is very telling for me when it comes to hardware and what holds back what. Something that they say that many people could misunderstand is that Ark is poorly optimized, but you can kind of gloss over it when you look at how the lineup, the PS5, the Series X, and the S, and then when they throw in PC specs and show you what the top end could look like. The largest part of this is that they want to use all the toys in their 2024 full remake of the 2015 game. Going from Unreal 4 to Unreal Engine 5, they are using all the toys, not just focusing on one or two or finding a way to tell their story better with a twist here or there. It's the old throw the bucket at it strategy, lipstick on a pig, polishing the turd. Oh, shucks. This is where I go dragon eating its own tail. He says, quote, this is where I go, quote, dragon eating its own tail, end of quote. And we go back to Nintendo. You notice how their first party titles push the system forward. Their teams spend years in the technology. So whereas they had an internal team that lived, breathed, and understood NES hardware, the people working with Xbox got the S and X at the same time. Let us then throw in you have to make a game that works in many cases on PC, Xbox X, PS5, and Series S. So, God dog, Cody, this is a long email, brother. God darn, Cody, hold on, man. All right, hold on. All right, wait. Where did I leave off at? Okay, it says, so whereas they had an internal team that lived, breathed, and understood, and that's hardware, the people working with Xbox got the S and X at the same time. Let us then throw in, you have to make a game that works in many cases on PC, Xbox, PS5, and Series S. So what do? They hit the point for Sony being the weakest and then just say, well, use Series X settings for the S, but take it from 1080p scaled down to 720 and lock it at 30 frames per sec. Man, I'm trying to keep up with you, Cody. God dog. It says the original idea that Xbox wanted was to make a great game that played on both, where the S would make you go, wow, and the X would blow your socks off. But spending that much time is expensive. Fewer and fewer games use their own engines and IDEs, integrated development environment. Why spend it on, thank you for breaking that down, Cody, by the way. But why spend it on an engine and all the tools necessary to support it when you can just use Unreal? I guess some people use Crytek or Lumberyard. LOL, not really. Or Unity. Plus, newer software engineers are all educated on Java because it is fast and makes things go vroom easy. Learning things about code and, more importantly, memory optimization are just not as common as it was 20 plus years ago. The same rule companies use to solve bad development issues, aka throw money at it, end of quote, is what developers do nowadays. Throw processing power and RAM at it. A good game is a good game regardless of the hardware or game ecosystem. The problem is it's not in EA's or Xbox's or Sony's interest to make those, it seems. They want to have the toys out all at the same time versus working on each event. Man, Cody, listen, brother. Man, you know I got love for you, man. But God, dog, this was a soliloquy, my brother. Darn. All right, Cody. Hold on, man. Yeah, you was definitely on your soapbox with this one, brother. Good night. All right, so, man, I'm going to tell you something, Cody. Now, as I was reading this, like I told you, brother, I was trying to keep up and understand what you were saying. But basically, it just seems like you were talking about, just hardware being best optimized, getting that best experience out of it. Yeah, it is interesting just thinking about this where, a game has to work on PC, Xbox, PS5, Series S, Series X, all of these different things, like you had mentioned, putting it at 1080p on the Series X and then having to scale it down to 720p on the Xbox Series S and locking it at 30 frames. Man, it's a lot happening, brother. And I know people say it's a lot going on very loosely nowadays, but that is a lot for a developer to really kind of overcome. You're talking about like 4 or 5 different SKUs that you got to make a game for. God darn. Now, granted, this is the thing, and Cody, trust me, if I'm going way off left on this, not conversation, but this email, then pardon me, my brother. But that is one thing that PlayStation does have a real advantage on versus Xbox. Xbox, you got their developers having to optimize for the Series X, for the Series S, and for the PC. That's 3 different SKUs that you have to have your developers actually developing for versus PS5, or PlayStation. They're only worried about the PS5 itself. And then if you even go to the PC side of things, they're not even working on that. They have a team that works specifically on the PC ports, and they don't come till like 2 years later anyway. So I think that just that fact alone, that PlayStation has that advantage versus what Xbox has going on, that's going to make their games look much better anyway, because they're not having to spread resources over multiple SKUs to get out the same product. Now, granted, that's a whole lot harder, I would think, for somebody like Ubisoft or, EA to actually do the same thing. Take-Two, whatever the case may be, which granted is why I'm sure, of course we'll never know, but I'm sure that's why Grand Theft Auto doesn't come to the PC till a year and some change later, or any of Rockstar games for that matter, because they probably need time to optimize that joker to make it the best experience that they can make it on the PC. And at the same time, for the consoles, making that version the best they can for the console version, of that game. So, with that being said, Cody, yeah, things are all over the place. People definitely, they want the Flash. Like you said, they want the toys all out at the same time and all of that stuff, brother. But, again, I think you mentioned about, not having some of the coders, of back in the day that have that experience, they can really make the hardware sing, kind of like you were talking about with Nintendo, where they have people that they study the hardware, they study the technology, and they take full advantage of it. That's one thing about the Switch I can say. The Switch doesn't necessarily have any bad looking games per se. They just look AA. A lot of the time, and of course, you can say that that's because of the technology inside of the console as well, but they just don't look like just amazing, but they look great for what that hardware can do. So that definitely shows that they're spending the time really understanding the tools and all of that stuff to get the most out of what the Nintendo Switch can do. But again, for me, if we're talking about PlayStation 5, brother, let me tell you, man, I feel like they are getting a ton out of that console. When I look at games like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, God of War, Ragnarok, even some early release titles like Kena Bridge of Spirits is a really, really nice looking game. You know, of course it's older now, but I'm just saying it was a really, really nice looking game when it first released. You know, then you got games like Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man 2, God darn. Yeah, that joint is being pushed, at least more to me, up until, you know, Senua Saga came out. I would say that the Series X wasn't being pushed, but man, Ninja Theory with those graphics, God darn. And I understand it's not a lot of people on the screen at once that you're fighting against and all of that stuff, but graphically, whew, that is a showpiece. But anyway, Cody, I'm gonna move on to your next email here, brother, and we are almost closing out. Got like 2 more left. Let's see what this is. Oh, yeah. Now, actually, this will probably cover both of your emails because I think they're both about the same thing. Hold on. Yeah, okay. So the title, I'm going to read the title, though, of your email, Cody. I don't want to shortchange you, brother. The title of Cody's next email is CloudGen Crackdown 3 co-developers acquired by Epic Games, Xbox One. All right, that was the other one, but now you had continued it in this email where you actually sent me an article where it says Epic buys CloudGen, the tech that powers Crackdown 3. Now, this was a very interesting article. Now, I was very late to this, but Cody actually put me on to this. But he sent me an article from TSA that says, now this was back in 2022, but it says Epic buys CloudGen, the tech that powers Crackdown 3. It says, remember the cloud? Microsoft couldn't stop talking about it when they launched the Xbox One. It was going to make Xbox games super sexy and like totes better than PlayStation. Since then, the power of the cloud seems to have evaporated, with very few games making use of it. The most notable being Crackdown 3, which has been stuck in development heck for a good few years. Unreal Engine creators Epic Games have now bought CloudGen, the company whose service is powering Crackdown 3, and have incorporated it. This had to be back in 2018, I believe, this article, but incorporated it as a wholly owned subsidiary. This is notable as Epic are sure to build a functionality to support CloudGen, meaning cloud power would be readily available to all developers on multiple formats. So this was like interesting to me, man. That y'all remember Crackdown 3, man, it was supposed to be just the most destructible environments ever in the game. I mean, they were hyping this thing up to the highest clouds in the sky of how amazing this game was going to be. And just how phenomenal, you know, everything was going to be. It was going to be just such a leap forward and all of that stuff. And eventually when Crackdown did release, it wasn't even remotely like it was promoted to be. But that's because of a result of Epic actually buying the technology, you know, that was actually powering Crackdown 3 initially. So just bad, man, just bad timing on Microsoft's part that, you know, a game that possibly could have been as advertised. We'll never know for sure, but it having that possibility of actually coming out the way that they advertised it to be, pretty much got yanked off the table once Epic bought the technology. They couldn't use it anymore. And as a result, we got the crackdown that we got. But I just found that very, very interesting, Cody. Thank you for actually sharing this story, that happened. I mean, I knew that the technology was bought at the time, but I didn't. Hold on. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. I didn't. But Cody, yeah, this is a very interesting email. Cody, you have had us go a whole hour off of your emails, man. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Had to drop a bomb for you and give you a round of applause, brother. God, dog. Lee, Cody had us here a whole hour with his email. Darn. But again, Cody, yeah, that was something I didn't know, man. It makes you wonder what could have been if Crackdown had actually had the technology that it was being worked on, from day one. What would the results had been? I mean, it's one of those situations where we will never know. But Cody, I want to thank you again, brother, for these emails, man. How many of these did you send me? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 whole emails. Golly, dating back to June 10th. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I got all of your emails, because I know how it feels, man, to actually possibly write into somewhere or send in, your thoughts and it not be, read or received or anything like that. It can kind of make you feel a certain kind of way, if that's the case. It's like, man, you ask, for, some, for people to give their thoughts, and then, you give your thoughts, and sometimes it just doesn't even get answered, So for me, I never want any of you guys to ever feel that way. I just asked Cody that maybe shrink it down a little bit for a brother, though, man. Just take it down a couple of paragraphs. You know what I mean? Because it starts to get a little harder. Listen, for me, maybe not for everybody else, but when you got so much to read, man, and you trying to keep up, it's like, man, sometimes it definitely makes it a little bit harder for me, to, kind of put all of it together. So that would be the only thing I would ask, Cody, just shrink it down in taste, my good brother. But, yeah, I just definitely never want you guys to ever think that I'm ignoring anything that you guys write in about, even if it's something that, I might not even be personally interested in. It's not about what I'm interested in or anything like that. It's about hearing from you guys and hearing your thoughts. So again, Cody, I truly, truly want to thank you one more time, my good brother, for writing in, brother. Thank you so much. So with that being said, guys, if you do want to be a part of the next listener feedback, you can write in to the email address. And the email address is simply the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. I was your host, Keon Mitchell, and we will definitely, believe you me, we will definitely be back at it on Sunday, because we got some Halo or 343 situation to talk about. We got some Gears of War situations to actually address, and it should definitely be a good show. But anyway, until Sunday, when we do it again, you guys get out there, play some games, and enjoy yourself. We're out of here.
failure.